Hello viewers, I hope I am live, I am visible and audible. This is going to be my attempt to talk about videos 543 to 567. I am live, so you can ask me any questions and I will try to reply to them in real time. Before I proceed with this, just a little bit of housekeeping. I just need to confirm whether I'm actually live or not, because there have been occasions when I've been talking for hours only to realize that I am not live. I do see all the buttons indicating that I'm live on the screen, but I just need to use a different device to be sure. So just give me a little bit of time and I'll be back shortly. Ideally, I should have an overlay on this screen while I'm checking this, but I am still learning OBS. So let's just confirm this. I should go to the YouTube app, YouTube channel, and I think I am live. Learning OBS. Yes, I am. So now let's come back to it. Let's start with the video number 543. In video number 543, I talked about Chandler Bing in ENT. Now, when you hear the word Chandler Bing, you think about Matthew Perry, the character Matthew Perry played in the hit situational comedy, hit sitcom from America, Friends. Matthew Perry, of course, is somebody who has passed away, and his character Chandler Bing was one of the most loved characters in that show, which was also a very loved show, a very prominent show across the world. Chandler Bing was my favorite character from the show, and Chandler Bing does exist in the world of ENT, otorhinolaryngology. How does it exist in the world of ENT? That's what I described in video number 543. Chandler in ENT refers to the Chandler's classification, which is the orbital complications due to sinus disease, and Bing refers to Bing test in ENT, which is a hearing test using a tuning fork, which is also a part of ENT. So both Chandler and Bing, Chandler Bing are there in ENT. Chandler Bing is a part of ENT, so that's what the video was about. In video number 544, I talked about a test that literally did not end. So when I say test, I am not talking about academic tests, I am talking about a test match of cricket played between England and South Africa, I believe in 1939 in Durban. And this was the time when many test playing nations would keep playing. There was no restriction of 5-day test matches or 4-day matches or overs. There's nothing like that. It was just two teams playing against each other. Both would bat twice. Whoever gets the most runs, that team wins. And I do believe that is something which we can look at even now, but with all the TV revenue and broadcasting regulations and the advertising and all of that, I probably am not very optimistic about this phenomenon returning to the world of cricket now. But it did exist, and when it did exist, it was quite interesting. So much so that in the 1939 Durban Test match between England and South Africa, the match went on for almost 10 days, and the visiting England team had to stop playing because they would otherwise lose their boat back to England. Back in that era, players wouldn't travel by air, they would travel by sea. So video number 544 talked about that endless test match. Video number 545 talked about aura farming. Aura farming is the term which has become popular with the dance moves of a young child from Indonesia called Ryan Argandika. It's a very, shall we say, he's from humble family. He's not rich, but he is famous all over the world. Certainly in Indonesia, but also all over the world. His dance moves have really taken the internet by storm, creating a new phrase called aura farming. In video number 546, I talked about perhaps the most confusing aspect of cricket that I encountered growing up, the Duckworth-Lewis method, and I tried to simplify it for myself mostly and for anyone who wants a simplified description of the Duckworth-Lewis method. In video number 547, I started a new series called After NEET PG. This was the first episode of this series. In this video, I talked about the 6 questions that one needs to carefully think about after getting a good rank in the NEET PG exam. In video number 548, I tried to answer one of those 6 questions, which is a very fundamental question. Do you use the rank you've got now to take a postgraduate seat in this attempt itself, or do you attempt the exam one more time, invest one more year at least, and try to improve your rank so that you can get a better seat? Now, what is a better seat? What is a better rank? What are the chances of improving your rank? All of these are impossible to predict. So it is a difficult choice, because I know people, I know myself, I took the seat I got in the first rank I got in NEET PG, or the NEET PG equivalent as it was back then. If I would have waited a year, I don't know what would have happened. I could have improved my rank could have been worse, I could still be in limbo, I don't know. So it's a difficult situation, but I tried to come up with some solutions to this problem in video number 548. In video number 549, I talked about the Supreme Court judgment on stray dogs in India, and this was the part 2 of this judgment. I found this very interesting, that the Supreme Court judgments are available openly. They are a matter of public record, and you can read them out, because there is no copyright infringement regarding reading the Supreme Court judgments as they are. You can also comment on the judgments. You can express your opinion about the judgment, but you definitely cannot cast aspersions about the intent of the judges. In video number 550, I talked about NEET PG in court. NEET PG, the National Eligibility Cum Entrance Test for Postgraduate Medical Courses, has seen several days in court, and I tried to create a historical timeline of that. Even in 2025, there are court cases that have been filed about NEET PG. In video number 551, I believe it was the next episode of the After NEET PG series, where I talked about MDMS or DNB, the pros and cons of MDMS with respect to DNB. This is something which many people have had to wonder. Both are equivalent, but which one do you go for? There are definite advantages of MDMS, and there are also definite advantages of DNB. Similarly, there are definite disadvantages of MDMS, and there are definite disadvantages of DNB also. In video number 552, I talked about Althea Gibson, who is not just a legend of tennis, but also a legend of golf. She was the first woman of color to break barriers in both tennis and in golf. So she was pioneering not just in one sport, but in 2 sports. So it's a remarkable story of Althea Gibson. I highly recommend that you check this video out, video number 552, American legend Althea Gibson. In video number 553, I reviewed the movie that I had been eagerly waiting to watch, F1, starring Brad Pitt, and it was a spoiler-free review of the movie. In video number 554, I talked about whether one should go for diploma or degree. Again, a dilemma that many people do encounter. I had encountered this also, whether you go for diploma in a subject that you might think is better than degree in a subject which you might think is worse. Which one is a better option? Which one makes more sense for you? That's what I tried to address in that video. In video number 555, I talked about whether free healthcare is a need of the hour in India. And I certainly believe it is. And I certainly believe it is possible to implement in India, despite the huge population that we have. But I think it is possible. And it is something which should be attempted with a little bit of seriousness, in my opinion. However, I am not holding my breath regarding the implementation of free healthcare in India, possibly because of the influx of capital that has happened in the last 5 years. And when there is so much of investment of capital, people do want to see a return on that investment. I don't know if that is impossible if free healthcare is instituted. Free healthcare doesn't mean that people providing the healthcare go bankrupt. If that would have been the case, then free healthcare would not have existed in any part of the world. But it does exist in many parts of the world, and people providing the healthcare are not going bankrupt. So solutions can be obtained. I certainly believe that the smartest people in this country are in the bureaucracy and in the government. So maybe they can think of a way to implement free healthcare for the citizens of India, because I certainly believe it is the need of the hour. In video number 556, I talked about the world's biggest food company. Any guesses? It is Nestle from Switzerland. I tried to trace its entire journey from the 19th century to present day. In video number 557, I talked about Happy Teachers Day, which is celebrated in India on 5th September on the birth anniversary of second President of Independent India and the first Vice President of Independent India, Dr. S. Radhakrishnan, who was also an educator by profession. Now, usually Teachers Day for me has been from the point of view of a student, but of late it has also been from the point of view of a teacher. So I really enjoyed it. In video number 558, I talked about perhaps one of the most favorite delicacies from Bengal, ilish mach, or the fish hilsa. And I talked about the history of hilsa, both in the context of Bengal and in the context of other parts of the world which also enjoy ilish. Also, I talked about the role of the Bengali diaspora that has taken this culinary delight to different parts of the world, especially Brick Lane in London. In video number 559, I talked about Amanda Anisimova, how she bounced back from a double bagel in the Wimbledon final of 2025 against Iga Swiatek, and she went on to defeat Iga Swiatek in New York in the US Open. She reached the final of the US Open. She is an American, and it was amazing to see an American reach the final of the US Open. She lost to Sabalenka in the final, but it is highly commendable that she bounced back from a 6-love defeat in the Wimbledon final, the previous major, and in the very next major she reached the final again, only to lose, but I am sure in future she will be a Grand Slam champion. She is very young. In video number 560, I talked about the role that the rural service bond plays after post-graduation in the lives of doctors. This is part of the After NEET PG series. This was episode 5, and I tried to talk about the pros and cons of the rural service bond from the point of view of people who have just completed post-graduation in different specialties of medicine in India. In video number 561, I talked about Lando Norris versus Oscar Piastri, the two leading McLaren drivers who are also the leading drivers in the Formula One standings in 2025. The last time two McLaren drivers were 1-2 in the Formula One standings was, I believe, in the Fernando Alonso versus Lewis Hamilton season in 2007. But even in that season, the winner turned out to be a Ferrari driver, Kimi Raikkonen. The most recent time, Ferrari has won a Drivers' World Championship. But if you have to go back in time to think about a season where two McLaren drivers were battling each other and no one else, and one of the two was likely to win, you will have to go all the way back to the Senna-Prost years of most recently being 89, I think, or 1990 was it. So I think 89, yeah. So in 1988, Senna wins the F1 championship. That's the first Senna-Prost team year, and 1989 Prost wins at Suzuka in the unforgettable crash that they had. So that's how long back you have to go in time. 1989 was the last time, most recent time, when two McLaren drivers were vying for the winning spot in the Drivers' World Championships. They were battling each other and nobody else. There were instances of McLaren drivers fighting each other for the win, most notably Lewis Hamilton versus Fernando Alonso, but Kimi Raikkonen was also in the mix. Also, in later years when there was Jenson Button and Lewis Hamilton, even then there were other drivers like Sebastian Vettel and Fernando Alonso in the mix. Obviously, Sebastian Vettel was the one who won. So this is very interesting that after Senna-Prost, the next McLaren duo to really battle it out for an F1 Drivers' World Championship is Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri, and I am anticipating that it's going to get really feisty really soon. If it doesn't, then it will not be fun to watch. In video number 562, I talked about the pros and cons of government medical college versus the pros and cons of private medical college from the point of view of pursuing post-graduation. It's a difficult topic to talk about in a balanced way because generally there is this perception that government colleges are where the meritorious students go and private colleges are where the stupid students go, which is absolutely wrong, and it's very harsh to characterize it in such oversimplified terms. I have had experience of both colleges. I have studied in government medical colleges and I have taught in private medical colleges, and I believe that intelligence is not restricted to the nature of the ownership of a medical college, whether it is government owned or it is owned by a private entity. In video number 563, I talked about the World Economic Forum, the annual gathering of intelligent minds in Davos in Switzerland. In video number 564, I talked about the caning of Charles Sumner, and I'm very happy that it has been viewed a number of times. The caning of Charles Sumner, I believe, is a watershed moment in the history of American politics. This happened in 1856, I believe 22nd May. So a senator who delivered a speech in the Senate, which, if you are not aware of the American system of government, then Senate is one chamber of the legislature, just like Rajya Sabha is a chamber in our parliament in India. And the Lok Sabha equivalent in America is the House of Representatives. So this guy, Charles Sumner, who is a senator, he delivers a speech. He delivers an anti-slavery speech. He blames two Democratic senators, I believe Senator Douglas and Senator, I'm forgetting the name of the second senator. But the second senator, whose name I'm forgetting right now, he had a relative in the House of Representatives who was absolutely beside himself because his relative was criticized by this gentleman Charles Sumner, who was a senator. So this guy, who is a member of the House of Representatives, walks into the Senate, takes his cane and starts hitting a senator. Everybody is witnessing this. This was not done in the darkness of an alleyway. This was done in broad daylight. Everybody saw this. Nobody stopped him. He continued caning him for a minute. This guy, Charles Sumner, becomes unconscious. He could not defend himself. And both become heroes for their own political supporters. People who were pro-slavery, they supported the guy who did the caning. The people who were anti-slavery supported Charles Sumner. It's very interesting developments in the world of politics in the United States of America. And it's quite prescient in present times, I believe. In video number 565, I talked about two protests. One that has erupted in Nepal, in our neighborhood, and another protest that has erupted in the streets of Paris. In video number 566, I talked about my neighborhood in Kolkata, Salt Lake, how it was developed, how Serbian architect Dobrivoje Toskovic devised the plan, and why Salt Lake is divided into these subunits which are almost self-sufficient. They have their own marketplace, they have their own park, they have their own Durga Puja. So it's quite interesting. In video number 567, which is the most recent video I have uploaded, I talked about Three Body Problem, a very engaging Netflix show, but it is created by David Benioff and D.B. Weiss, so do use caution before watching the first season. There is a chance you might get hooked and be terribly disappointed when the show ends, just like what happened with Game of Thrones. So with that, I would like to conclude this live stream. Thank you for watching this. Take care. Bye-bye. And as always, please don't forget to be awesome. I'll see you in the next one.